What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Wars in the Stars, episode 40. Alex is back after he couldn't make it last week. He had,
Work.
first you had a work thing, and then you couldn't do Tuesday, and then I just wanted to get it done because I like to
Yeah.
get things out of the way. But Alex is finally,
Oh. Okay,
Alex is,
that's what I have to say to that.
yeah, Alex is back. Today, well, okay, we're supposed to do a Rogue One talk, right?
Well, let's do
And
it. So I want to talk Rogue One if you want to talk
okay,
Rogue
okay,
One.
okay. My bad. I'm not gonna out you like that.
Nah,
Listen
nah,
up,
nah, nah.
guys.
You were going to, and I
I
feel
was
real
going
bad.
to. I was going to.
Okay, guess
Um.
what? This drink, I like it. Another.
Uh. So glad you're back. But
Another.
anyways, guys, what is happening? Okay. Anyways, guys. Uh, our first quick announcement. Is our November schedule. So it's the last week of October. So
Another.
in the last. Oh, you froze on me. Okay, you're good. Okay. Um.
Another.
In the last week of each month, I like to preview what's happening next month. Next month, we get busy, Alex. We get
Yep,
really busy.
we do.
We have an Eternals prediction video next Wednesday. Then we'll have a review of the movie probably next weekend. Uh, we'll then have a Disney Plus Day preview and then a Disney Plus Day recap. I'll probably stream the whole day as I am home because I don't have school that day. Alex will join me at some point in the day. We'll have a Hawkeye preview in the middle of November. We'll review Hawkeye episodes 1 and 2 on the 24th, a day before my birthday. And that will be the month of November. And then we'll have one or two reactions to probably the Spider-Man trailer, I assume, and Morbius maybe, or whatever the hell else comes out.
Bro, speaking of Spider-Man, did you see how many people were on TikTok that were getting upset at that rumored second trailer didn't come out?
Yeah, I mean, are we surprised about that? I mean, anytime a trailer doesn't come out when we think it's going to come out, we just get upset.
Literally, this is like before like Disney Plus Day and whatnot.
Yeah, well, they got to start marketing the movie at some point. I think it would be appropriate to drop it at some point now.
Yeah.
I
So
think it'd be appropriate to drop it before Eternals so it can play in front of Eternals, but it wouldn't make sense for them to drop it this week because there's no major motion picture that's dropping this week. So next week would make sense, but I get it when I get it.
which like honestly, look, I know I said I wanted to talk about Rogue One. I honestly now kind of want to talk about the other things that we are going to talk about.
Well,
'Cause-
listen. We'll Spider-Man's at the end, so we'll get into that all at the end.
It's not even that. It's some of the other things. Like those need a little bit of longer form discussions. Kind of like about the thing that you dropped on me before we started.
What did I drop on you before we started?
About Eternals.
Okay. Listen, that will all be in our preview next week. I got this all mapped out, Alex. Don't worry.
Oh,
okay.
It's worrying. It's worrying.
So Alex wasn't here last week, so there were two things you wanted to give your thoughts on. The Marvel movies being delayed and DC fandom as a whole. So Alex, I do a lot of the talking on this show. Right. Take the floor forever, however long you wanted. Give your thoughts on that.
I'll talk about the one that I was mostly excited about. Like the one that I got more excited about was DC fandom. I'm largely excited. Still the one thing that got revealed, and I know I'm gonna get stabbed in every single part of my body that can be stabbed. Sorry, the Bird Boy movie. The Batman. Just does not look good to me. I don't know what it is. Robert Pattinson he's just not selling me. You can ask Drew. It took a long time to sell Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker to me. But I see it now. I can see it now. It took a long time because I genuinely just didn't want anybody to replace Mark Hamill. But now this isn't a thing because I'm not into DC like that. I'm just getting into it like that and whatnot. So I don't have a 100% relation to Michael Keaton or Ben Affleck or Christian Bale or whatever. So like I don't care. But like I can tell you for certain, that's not Batman. That's Bird Boy. Like he just not sell it for me. Also, like I like the suit of the movie. It looks real badass. However, just the way that he talks, it sounds like he's trying to like do like a Christian Bale and Ben Affleck impression in one. It sounds bad. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We've never talked about it on here. What do you think? I know you're excited out of your mind for it.
Yeah, so I wasn't sold on him after the first trailer, but this one, man, I I love it. I just love the tone of the movie. I think I'm gonna love the Riddler.
It
Um,
looks dark. It looks like a dark movie.
right, and I don't think we've talked about, I have Falcon and the Winter Soldier higher up in my rankings for Phase 4 more than more people do. And I've talked to you about this. I like superhero movies that are grounded. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
love the character of Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man, the grounded movies. Sure, I like my Guardians and I like my Avengers, but there's something special about a grounded movie that just feels more realistic, gritty. Batman's just a rich dude who
Mm-hmm.
takes out his anger on people. And I think there's something different about this Batman. Like Pattinson sold me. Like he sold me. Like that scene where he's interrogating the Riddler and he says, "I'm right here," and he punches the glass. That sold me. I saw it in
No,
his eyes.
no.
Like
It,
he
it's
sold.
it's his voice. It's his voice. I
Look,
can't.
I could make the same argument for Bale. Bale's voice doesn't sell me, but
No,
like
no, 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 no. That man terrified me when I was younger.
right,
I,
but it just feels like he's trying to do it.
and
It
that's
doesn't.
it. Robert Pattinson's trying too hard to look scary.
The eyes, like, he just feels like Bruce, like, I'm intimidated. Like,
Yes,
I like
it's a
Bale a lot,
he's
Alex. I like Bale
yeah,
a lot, but I even talked to my friends about it. I said, I think Pattinson could be the best Batman. I think he has
yeah,
one
and
of the best directors behind him.
yeah,
I think he's got a whole generation. We haven't had a Batman movie in 10 years. It's long overdue. I think there's a chance this could be the best Batman.
yeah. And I also want to say I'm not writing him out. I'm gonna go see the movie. It's just again, I'm not excited for it. If I had to put it on a priority list, if you want some honesty here, I got to tell you, it's kind of fighting the Marvels in terms of my excitement.
Oh, that's a bad take.
I'm sorry,
That's a
because you
bad take.
no again that is I think that purely comes from I'm just not into DC like I am Marvel. I'm excited for
Okay.
anything Marvel. The Marvels, I'm excited for again almost anything. It's just or here I'll give them some. I'll give a better thing. I'm more excited for Moon Knight, which we've seen one leaked picture from, than I am this entire movie.
Okay.
But that's
Now,
also because I'm excited for Oscar Isaac to be back on the big screen in not Dune, because I watched Dune and I didn't like it.
oh, you didn't like it. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, I'll say this about Dune briefly. Um, it's a visually like amazing movie. The soundtrack's amazing on the movie.
I heard it's way too long.
It is way too long. It's 2 hours and I think like 45 minutes. Or no, 2 hours and like 35 minutes. I like long movies. You know, my favorite Star Wars movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's The Last
Right, but
Jedi.
it's very story driven, isn't it? Because it's
It
based off the first half of that book, so it's very
it
story
is.
driven.
And that's the problem is if you didn't read the book, you're confused out of your mind of what's going on.
Really?
That's what I've heard from a lot of people's reviews who haven't read the books and then went and read the books after they saw the
I've
movie.
I've never read the books. I have no idea. Literally, like
Yeah.
no idea.
Now, granted, it's a part one movie, so you have to watch the
Right.
other part for the full complete story.
Yeah.
But like, bro, I was confused out of my mind. I didn't understand what was going on half the
It's got a great
time.
cast. It's got a
It does.
fantastic cast.
However, I think I don't know how to say this man's last name.
Timothy
Timothy,
Chalamet.
yeah, Chalamet, whatever. I think is one of the most one-dimensional characters of all time. I, I think, I think Captain Marvel is giving him his money for poorly written main characters.
He's played a young Willy Wonka, so you
I know,
better
I
not.
saw. Now again,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hate on him or anything. I think he knocked the performance out of the park as much as he could. But like, I don't know.
You just didn't like the character. The character was you didn't like it. You
He
didn't
just
resonate with it.
no, he just felt very like
Bland.
bland. He felt very like he felt like there was no personality. It felt like his best friend in the movie, who's in the movie for not even like 5 minutes, had more personality than him. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
not I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It just wasn't the movie for me. I didn't read the book or the watch the other movie before it, the
yeah.
old movie before it. So
Right. Yeah, so to move back into DC fandom, do you have thoughts on anything else like The Flash or Black Adam?
Yes, The Flash. I'm so excited. It's easily jumped up there in terms of my like most anticipated movies.
Elaborate.
Okay. Well, first of all, I love the CW Flash. Although season 4, I'm on season 4 right now. It's getting a little bit on the just push through it. Just push through it. You're almost on Crisis on Earth X. You're almost there.
He's got gold boots now.
In season 8, he's got the gold boots, the comic gold boots. Everyone is excited. Okay, but that is also Drew. Did you ever watch The Flash?
Yeah, I did.
What season did you make it to?
Probably 4 or 5.
You know how good seasons one and two's and 4's suits are, right? And then we get season 5, 6, and 7 suits. Not season 5 has a really bad suit, like it looks shit. And then, or that might be season 6. Haven't gotten there yet, but I've definitely been seeing some pictures on TikTok and Instagram. But man, season 8 suit just looks perfect. The gold boots, I don't know what it is. It really just ties everything together.
Yeah, but to get back, what were your thoughts on the Flash trailer? Just
It's exciting. Like
really.
I want to see the movie right now.
So, like, what
the-
captivated you? I'll let you go. What captivated you?
Well, my whole thing is like it's the potential of Barry Allen potentially being the Reverse Flash, especially now with the whole CW leak of Grant Gustin in the Reverse Flash suit. You're just like, what is going on? Because you know, if you watch the show, if you watch Justice League, if you're gonna watch this movie, then like you're at this point, if you watch the Flash TV show, you should be well aware of what Flashpoint is. If you're the comics, you should be super aware of what it is. And this movie's gonna be based on those comics, basically on the premise that Barry Allen runs back in time and saves his mom's life, so that Eobard Thawne can't kill her. Then that creates Flashpoint, and that creates a bunch of just terrible problems for Barry and whatnot. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm just excited to see another incarnation of Flashpoint because the CW, while it was interesting because it gave us Kid Flash, it gave us just like a bunch of villains and whatnot. I'm just excited for another incarnation of it. I'm not 100% sold on Ezra Miller as the Flash, as Barry Allen. I don't know if I've talked to you about it. I think Grant Gustin was absolutely robbed. So
Yeah, I don't know what it is, Alex, but this is a big movie for the DC universe because it's a reset movie. He can
yeah,
time travel. It's a reset movie because DC isn't like a place where like they wanted to compete with Marvel with a cinematic universe, and they didn't have a plan or an outline, so they're piecing shit together and hope it sticks, and it didn't work. So now they're like, oh, we gotta go back to the drawing board. Let's use the Flash movie, but let's also give a story to the Flash. So I think they gotta find a way to balance like, give me a Barry Allen story
mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
also reset the DCEU.
yeah.
But you have Ben Affleck in this movie, and I think arguably the thing I was most excited about was like, oh shit, it's Michael Keaton. Like, what's
Mm-hmm.
happening? And the possibility of like, there's 2 flashes of what's going on here.
Supergirl's in the movie.
Right. Henry Cavill might be in this movie. Who knows? Like,
Yeah, it's it's to me the one thing I am curious about is why they decided that one of the first reset movies should be Flashpoint. I don't. It's a very weird, specific thing to choose. I feel like they should have chosen something else, but you know what? I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain at
yeah,
all. I
why
also
not?
just the one thing I don't like about I haven't fully watched either of the Justice Leagues. I am gonna watch the Joss Whedon one just because I have to. I have to watch it. It feels right to watch that and then the Zack Snyder Justice League, just for comparison's sake and whatnot. But I don't like how they make the Flash run in those movies. It looks really weird. Like the way that he has to like do this some weird like back thing, and then like run forward. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be biased to how the CW does it because it
Oh,
looks,
where he does this? Yeah.
yeah, like the CW just looks better. The orange lightning behind him looks so cool.
Plus, I never like his movie suits. Like,
They
never like him.
like the Justice League suit just looks so bulky. Like, how does that look in any way, shape, or form comfortable to run in?
Right. And I like this suit better, but like the
Yeah,
helmet's still just like, what are you
yeah,
doing?
yeah. Hold on, I need just
While you're looking that up, do you have anything about Black Adam, or because that was
um
nuts?
yeah. I don't hold on.
Oh,
Just give me 1 second. Just 1 second. Uh, I don't know. I'm also someone who's like, okay. Well, before I talk about Black Adam, because I am excited, I also love the comment that The Rock made on Twitter. So good. Like, I don't know,
about
'cause, like,
Shazam?
yeah. Um, I don't know. The Flash, like the way that they're handling the Flash in the movies, like he talks about how when he runs as fast as the speed of light, like things start to go wrong and whatnot. I was just like, but we got Barry Allen on the CW running like Mach 2. Um, so that's a bit of a problem if that's happening. It's also just weird because like, you know, I don't know. I just think the CW, with its flaws of the Flash, I think it definitely got a lot about time travel right. I honestly think that the CW has some of the best tellings of how time travel should work. How if you go to the past and you make a change, it won't. If you make one sudden change, it won't like destroy the universe and whatnot. Like Barry at one point ran back in time, told Caitlin and Cisco something, and then ran forward in time, and it was made. Like it didn't change the events of what happened before; it changed the events of what happened leading up to that. So I honestly think, as in my opinion, one of my favorite versions of how time travel is told. You know, the Avengers should take some notes. Um,
Right.
yeah. Also, I got into like this silly debate with my brother about how time travel works with the Infinity Stones and whatnot. I was like, my guy, you're not understanding this. He literally said all he had to do to return the Soul Stone was give it back to the Red Skull. And I was like, but what about, I don't know, Natasha's death? Because like if you're giving the stone back, then technically, how can someone die for it again?
Right.
Too many questions. You know how I
Yeah.
am. Avengers
Right.
and time travel sucks. But Black Adam, I am excited. I'm excited. Uh,
Yeah. It looks great, dude.
I,
Looks
I love
fantastic.
I love Shazam, and I really just want to see those two, go for each other. I'm just more interested in The Rock and how he's gonna go. I've seen a lot of Rock movies. Not a big fan of him when he acts. So
I feel the same way about him as I do John Cena
yeah,
acting.
like they can be good. They can be really funny, but like I think him and John Cena both struggle with like giving depth to their characters.
But the thing is John Cena is playing a very surface level character in the DC universe. He played Peacemaker. He's meant to be funny. He's meant to be like a joke character. The Rock is playing Black Adam, who is like they keep saying the hierarchy of power is about to change in the DC universe. Is like Superman literally exists in this universe. So like,
I
is
know.
this a different universe or like what's going on here? And then The Rock said something the other day like Superman's greatest weakness is not kryptonite, it's magic. Like, what?
Yeah.
No, Superman would literally kill you. I'm sorry. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like if it's in a separate universe, then yeah, he could be the most powerful thing we ever see. So like I'm
Mhm.
really excited for that. And just like we didn't actually see The Rock. We just saw the hood. So like how does it look when he has to I'm kind of worried about that. But overall, that
Yeah.
tease was good. I'll let you keep talking about it.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about Black Adam. Just I love Shazam, and if he is anything as good, as funny as that movie, and whatnot, I'll be set.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Um,
Trying to think about what else was at Fandom. It's been a
Well,
little
it
bit.
was Peacemaker. There was really, I mean, I don't really want to talk about the behind the scenes because they
No.
really don't matter right now.
The only other thing I can think about is Titans season 4 being confirmed.
I don't care.
I
Don't
watch
care.
Titans. I love Titans. I'm on
Don't
season
care.
1 right now. I think you should watch it. I think it's really good. There are some like iffy parts to it. I will say,
Doesn't it focus on Nightwing, if I'm not right?
yes. So the main character is Dick Grayson, obviously Robin.
Right.
At the point
Jake,
where I'm at, Jason Todd just took over as Robin. I'm out at like episode 8 of season 1. Um, so it's just like,
well, you know what happens to him in the
yes,
show, right? Okay.
who? Be
Jason
specific.
Todd.
Yeah, he becomes the Red Hood.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
follow the actor on Instagram.
Okay.
I
Okay, I see.
also am about to make his helmet because I love the Red Hood helmet. However, not a big fan of the Titans helmet. It looks pretty bad.
Oh, it
Uh,
looks creepy.
it doesn't look creepy. It looks cartoonish.
Yeah,
I
I
like
know
it.
what you're saying.
I like the Rebirth helmet more, but
Yeah,
whatever.
but I haven't seen it. I have no desire to watch it.
Yeah. I think
I
it's
just
so
don't care.
good. I think however, it is weird because like when you think of Titans, you think of like the cartoon, like how Robin's like a kid and whatnot. In this, he's like a full blown adult.
Yeah, isn't like Nightwing basically like the Batman now, but he's not the Bat? Isn't like
Well, I don't
Bruce
know.
retired in this?
I'm only on season 1 right now. From where I
Okay.
from where I'm at in the show, Bruce is still Batman and he's fighting with Jason Todd, who just took over as Robin still.
Okay.
I know eventually I think he retires in the show.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
I don't know when Jason becomes the Red Hood. I just know that he does.
Yeah. All right.
So I just
Yes.
say I love the cast. I love all of them. They're all you know, and I also found out because I was just like I was going through, was following a bunch of the actors and whatnot for the shows I watch, and then I found the guy who plays Dick Grayson, and I was just like, oh, I see he has some videos on his Instagram. My man's Australian. I was just like, oh, I was like, you have a better American accent than most Americans do. Like, what is going on there?
Interesting. Do you got anything else you want to talk about from last week?
The movie delays.
Yeah, we could touch on that. What do you think about that?
That's crazy.
Not surprised. After Benedict, I don't mean to cut you off, but Benedict Cumberbatch in an interview said that they're doing reshoots in November and December, so like kind of have to
yeah. Um,
delay it a little bit.
you had a lot of people say this was in reaction to the Batman trailer.
Absolutely not.
Literally, I was like, Civil War was literally made to counter Batman versus Superman.
Right.
That was literally the only reason it got greenlit.
And they were 3 weeks apart as it was, so
Yeah,
it wasn't. It's not
like no, it's like do you really think that Disney would care about that stuff?
yeah. Plus, I'm a little upset that there's not gonna be a Marvel movie until, well, there is Morbius in January, but an MCU movie until like May. But I feel like it makes more sense to have Spider-Man and Doctor Strange 2 kind of be separated that
Yeah.
far, because one's Infinity War and the last one's like the End Game. Well, it's not the End Game, but it's an End Game like equivalent movie. It's a big movie for the MCU. So, do you got anything else on that, or do you got any?
I think what's weird is just like how some movies got like pushed back like real far.
Well, so you're specifically talking about like Ant-Man,
Yeah,
right?
that got pushed back.
I think there's a
Um,
reason for that, and I think the reason is because I think that might be like a massive turning point in the MCU because that's the movie Kane's going to be in.
yes.
So like that could be like I'm not saying it's going to be like Infinity War where like Kane's like the big bad of the
Hmm.
MCU, but it's going to be a big setup for like Kane becoming the massive bad
Yeah,
of the MCU.
it's just like The Marvels got pushed back real far, which again, depending on who you talk to, the excitement level is going to vary. Um, I'm. It honestly is like to real quick go on a tangent. It is a little upsetting seeing so many people being like, "Yeah, I'm just not going to go watch the Marvels."
Or Miss Marvel. I've seen
Yeah,
people say that already.
it's like seriously, dude.
I'm not excited for those, but I'll go watch them. I'll watch
Yeah,
them.
it's like, dude, knowing literally almost every single MCU movie, they play some huge part now. Kind of,
Right.
kind of have to go watch every single MCU
Right.
movie.
Even the Sony Marvel movies you kind of have to watch now.
Yeah. Which honestly, I'm so happy that Sony and Disney are at that deal. Can we like talk about that for a bit? Like how in like we
Whoa,
were
whoa,
like,
whoa, whoa. We'll touch up. We'll go into
no,
the Sony stuff. No. We'll touch
no,
on that later.
let's
We'll
just
touch.
let's just have a free-form conversation.
Okay.
Structure
Okay.
is boring.
No, I like structure, but if you want to touch on it, we'll
Listen,
touch on it now.
I
Well,
just
not
want
the actual thing, but if you
no,
want to touch on the
I
deal,
just want
go
to
ahead.
remind us that in 2016, that's when Civil War came out, right? I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
yeah,
So 5 years ago,
yeah. Just reminder that Sony almost gypped Disney of Spider-Man 2 weeks before the
like
film came
2 weeks before the movie.
and here we are. That the Venom series of all things is one of the most important things to the MCU right now.
Mm-hmm.
How did we get from point A to point B? Then Sony is gonna start putting their stuff on Disney Plus. It's just like what? And then Marvel's giving them rights to use their characters now. Just like what is going on?
Yeah, like we didn't even talk about this in our Venom movie review, but Shriek mentions that she's going to a place with other people like her. She's a mutant, Alex.
Yeah,
They could
basically,
be talking about mutants, which
it's
is crazy.
it
But
is
anyway,
it is
okay, let's move into Rogue One. This is supposed to be our main
okay.
topic.
My guy, who wants to talk about Rogue One?
Listen, we had it on the schedule. I got it. I listen. I invested 2 hours into my life to watch this movie, and I'm actually excited to talk about it because a lot of things changed.
And that was your fault for getting.
Okay, yeah,
All
right,
right,
right.
all right. We'll
I'm
talk. We'll talk.
responsible.
We'll
I'm
talk.
responsible. Okay, I'll go first because I took some notes. So this is just my overall thought. We'll go quicker than we usually do with this. All right, we'll get this out of the way. Overall, I thought this movie had an excellent story. Like, I absolutely love the story in this movie. Let me go a little bit deeper. The big three of Cassian, Jin, and K2SO, and even Shuret are fantastic. Cassian and Jin's dynamic is great, and K2SO,
Ooh,
in my opinion, is the
can
most
I
underrated droid in Star Wars.
can I interject?
Go ahead.
I think this is potentially fighting either the Last Jedi or A New Hope for one of the best casted Star Wars movies.
Oh, absolutely. Diego Luna, Felicity Jones, Alan Tudyk,
All
um,
amazing.
Ben
All
Mendelsohn
knock their roles out of the park. They're
killed
just so
it.
good. I just
Uh,
I'd say this about Rogue One every time I watch it. It's just the pacing of the movie. It's just a really slow, like hour to hour and 20 minutes.
I didn't feel that this time, Alex. I was
No,
actually intrigued in those first two acts. I don't think I lost. Like I was, and it might have been the fact that I watched the Clone Wars movie the week before, and I literally could not watch. Like I couldn't
yeah.
watch. Like I used to love that movie as a kid, and I couldn't
Who
watch it.
didn't?
Like,
Who didn't?
but this, I just felt like I was attached, I
Yeah.
was engaged, and like I love the first two
Yeah.
acts now.
And honestly, I feel like we kind of have that reverse of like the Last Jedi with each other.
Right. This
Because
like the last.
I love the Last Jedi. I love the story. I don't care how slow it gets. I just am always intrigued. I just Rogue One. There's something about it. I just can't get into it like that.
Yeah. Um, I am disappointed with like the lack of development for Bodhi and Baze. Like Baze is just there to serve Chirrut's story. I wish there was a little bit more. I would actually, Marvel does it with every one of their characters. Give us a backstory on Baze and Chirrut.
Yeah,
It's probably already in the comics, but like,
they
you
have
know,
a little bit of they have a little bit in what's it called in books and whatnot, but
oh, okay.
they don't have a huge backstory that we know about.
Right.
So
Yeah. I'd like to see it if there was one.
absolutely.
And the lack of a main central villain. Listen, I know Krennic is the main villain, but every time Tarkin or Vader is in a scene, he just looks like a little bitch.
I
Like
know.
he just is. I know that's the intention, but I just don't feel medicine. He just feels like I know Ben Mendelsohn does a great job, but this movie lacks a villain when you really think about
Yeah.
it.
You know what honestly surprises me the most is that okay, I was a Star Wars fan before I was a Marvel fan. And you would think I would probably associate Ben Mendelsohn with like Krennic. No, I have to associate him with Talos.
Oh yeah,
Well, technically, I have to associate him with Nick Fury now because he was Nick Fury for for a long time. Um, but still, like I don't know, Krennic just in terms of villains wasn't that memorable.
right. Like if we consider Krennic the main villain of this movie,
It's a weak villain.
he's the worst main villain in any of the Star Wars films.
Count Dooku's not very good.
I know, but at least Count Dooku was a little bit more medicine in Attack of the Clones. Like
Well,
at
yeah,
least he does.
yeah, because that's because we know he can actually fight.
Right, but even this movie where he doesn't have a lightsaber, I still like, oh, it's just Imperial dude who's like
Yeah.
a genius tactician.
Yeah, honestly, it kind of feels that way.
Yeah, like, but Tarkin was great. Like, I actually felt like, and that's another thing I'll get into the CGI, and then the weird episode 4 footage they use, Alex, with those pilots from episode 4, it
Mm.
just throws me off. I'm like, that's
Literally,
just,
every time I watch it, it's just like it sticks out so much.
I'm just like, that's from A New Hope. That's not supposed to be in this. Because you could just tell it's not supposed to be there.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
like,
they hey, I appreciate them for at least trying that.
right.
Because it's just it's a little weird. It's a little off putting, but it's nothing that like will throw the movie off entirely. Where I'm just like, this is terrible now.
Yeah,
Um,
I 100% agree, but it's just like that final act, I'm like, that's recycled footage from A New Hope. Tarkin, you do not look great at all. Like your movements look like a computer.
yeah.
Leia just looks
Which like
no,
can we talk about Tarkin just for a little bit? How one
right.
dimensional he was in A New Hope, and then literally a show like Star Wars Rebels made this man just so interesting.
Yeah, I haven't read the Tarkin novel yet, but he just seems like a menace. Like he's a
Oh,
badass.
fun fact about Tarkin: that's the first time we ever found out about Palpatine's first name.
Sheev, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Could Tarkin's one of the first canon like Disney
Yeah,
canon books, right? Yeah, because it came
uh,
out 2014.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like one of the first canon books.
Yeah.
Also, like Tarkin, man, Tarkin and Thrawn, they know everything, bro. They know that Anakin was or well, okay. Thrawn Thrawn basically knew. Tarkin was essentially putting the pieces together.
Right. Question: who do you think's like character-wise, if they were to fight?
Ooh,
Just I take Thrawn. I think.
I would take Thrawn. He's much more brutal and he's much smarter than
Yeah.
Tarkin. How
Both the best though, but they're
yes,
both great.
almost every time they're in a scene in Rebels, they always steal the show.
Oh,
Always.
absolutely. But I think Thrawn more so. Like
Oh yeah.
Thrawn, just his voice,
It's
his mannerisms.
it's
Like
something that
Tarkin.
yeah. It's something that
Tarkin. It's
even oh yeah, go ahead.
no. You go ahead. I keep cutting you off. Go.
No, you're fine. I was just saying it was something that like I was telling you around the time about the Ahsoka announcement that if when Thrawn was name dropped in The Mandalorian, that if they don't get the actor who played him in Rebels, I'm blanking his name right now. I always can
Is it?
remember.
Is it
It's Mads Mikkelsen's brothers.
Laz?
No,
Lars
Lars
Mikkelsen?
Mikkelsen. I'm pretty sure. Yes, it's Lars Mikkelsen. Um, if they didn't,
Laz. I said
yeah,
Laz. Just
if they didn't get him to come back as Thrawn, I would have actually been so upset.
the
Like
voice.
the rumors of Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey
playing.
Jr.
Like no, I would honestly give like
Benedict Cumberbatch.
yeah, like if out of those two, I would see Benedict playing him more.
Right.
But even then, it was Lars Mikkelsen and only Lars Mikkelsen. There was no competition. He looks like Thrawn. He is Thrawn.
The voice. It's just the
It is.
voice.
It's chilling. You anytime that man is in a season of Rebels, everything that happens feels so planned out. Kang the Conqueror couldn't have made a better script than that. Like, you're just like, oh damn.
And speaking of character voices, Vader's in this movie, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So it's James Earl Jones, right? And James Earl Jones, he's 90, I think now. Bless his heart.
I know.
It's getting me worried in the future if we want to have Vader and stuff, because when I think of Vader, I think of I know there's been other people to voice Vader, but for theatrical stuff, I need James Earl Jones. And even in Rogue One, with it sounding raspy and like older, I still liked it, and it still felt like Vader.
Yeah, I will say this: I'm not so attached to James being Darth Vader. The person who plays him in Battlefront 2, I think would be a fine replacement. He sounds like the original trilogy Vader, so I'd be fine with it. However, could you imagine the day James Earl Jones dies?
Yeah, that's like he's the most iconic. He played the. Not a lot of people know it. I don't think either.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
Yeah, he's literally the voice of arguably one of the top two most iconic cinematic characters of all time.
I don't even think like people know who played Vader. I don't even think people know like Sebastian Shaw was like in that suit.
Nope,
I don't even think people know that.
Probably not. Like,
which is crazy to me because like everybody knows, like, let's just say who else is a popular supervillain? The Joker, Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, Mark Hamill in animation. Like everyone knows that. Like a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
But like with Vader, it's like
yeah,
I don't know.
Of course, the taglines are going to be like James Earl Jones, voice of Darth Vader. So, yeah, I've been seeing so many things on TikTok, bro. They're giving me so many bad feelings of like the days where the world will go silent. It's like days like when Mark Hamill dies, Harrison Ford dies. It's like, bro, don't even start setting 2022 to be that year. Because I'm telling you, if any one of those bitches die, it's going to be a sad year.
I could like especially Mark, because there's something, and I'll touch on it with the Anakin thing, because Anakin's such a special character to me. But with Luke, if I lost like my Luke Skywalker, that would kill.
Yeah, no matter what, if you talk about how you felt,
because these characters mean so much to me, and I think they mean just as much to you.
Well, here's my thing: is no matter how you felt about him in the sequels, The Rise of Skywalker is the last time we're seeing Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: I'm not a huge fan of The Rise of Skywalker, but I think it was the proper send off to have Luke in his final movie be the mentor to give Rey the hope to keep fighting.
Oh, I love that scene.
Now,
when he steps out of the fire, I love it.
Yeah. Now, granted, I wish he would have had a bit of a larger role, kind of like how Obi-Wan did in Return of the Jedi, where he wasn't like huge or anything. I mean, I would say they played similar roles, kind of gave like the look, we all knew, it was kind of like for your protection that things had to happen. But still, it was the fact that it was like in that scene where he gives Rey, Leia, and his lightsaber. Like that was literally like that to me will always be the time when she became Rey Skywalker. Is literally when the two Skywalker kids' sabers were passed down to her.
Mm-hmm.
After being told that both he and Leia knew that she was a Palpatine.
Yeah.
After they were both like consciously aware that she was a Palpatine.
And I love when he lifts the X-Wing out of the water. It puts a smile. Like it really puts a smile on your face. Like it does.
It's one of the few Disney fan services that it's just like, okay, it was clearly meant to be like, oh, look at that reference. I understood that reference. But it just, no matter what, I always start to tear up during that scene because it's just like, oh my gosh.
But it fits to me. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It's like he finally lifted the X-Wing.
It fits. So
I love it. And I think honestly Rogue One, I think Rogue One just has so many good scenes like that. Where you're just like
Vader scenes.
The hallway, every scene Vader's in is an absolute steal.
Act 3 is like I also said
it's the best third act of any Star Wars movie.
I said this movie knows what it wants to be. It wants to be a spy war movie set in space, and it does a fantastic job at doing that.
Absolutely, I agree.
With characters I love and characters like specifically Cassian. Cassian's line where he talks about, "I've been in this fight since I was like 6 years old." I'm like, I can't
Yeah,
wait to see that.
I
And
can't.
dude,
Yeah, I can't wait to see
one
it
of
in
my
Caspian
favorite
or
scenes in
Andor.
all of Star Wars is he just plugs a dude in, like, just kills the
Yeah.
dude and gives him information. I'm like, dude, this
Mhm.
movie also does a fantastic job of setting a gray line. Like, it's not just good and bad, but there's
No.
also good people who do bad things. It's like what Loki talks about in Loki. Is like when Loki says, I know something that children don't, is good people aren't always purely good and bad people aren't just purely bad. This, in fairy tale and folklore and fiction, which is designed for kids, is
Hmm.
supposed to say, yeah, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Well, Rogue One is a kids movie. It does a better job of explaining, well, good people have to do bad things sometimes. I mean, they
Yeah.
are terrorists after all. We've talked about this many times.
Yeah.
So that's my overall thoughts
Yeah.
on that.
It's just Rogue One definitely has a bit of a pacing problem for me. It kind of is too slow, then it really picks up. I wouldn't say it has the effect that Attack of the Clones does, where it's a little too late for it. Um, I definitely say as soon as they leave for Scarif, that you're hooked.
Yeah,
For the rest.
space
Actually,
battle's
no,
great.
no. I would even say when they arrive on Yavin and they're having the briefing about going to Scarif, that's when it gets interesting.
Yeah.
So I will say that I can't wait for Andor. That's all I can say.
Ah, so excited.
Is
Uh,
that depending on how good Andor does, this movie could jump my rankings.
is it top 5 right now? Because it's fifth for me when I just think
No.
about it.
I still think my top five is The Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back. Um, I'm going kind of back and forth recently on movies. Um, Force Awakens is for some reason kind of punching up there somehow. I don't know why.
Right.
I honestly think it's one of the most mid movies for
I feel
Star
like it
Wars.
has the Solo effect that I had, where like Solo was bumping up the rankings, even though I hadn't seen it in a while. But when I
Yeah,
saw it, I'm like, okay, where I originally had it was right. So maybe when you rewatch The Force Awakens,
yeah,
it'll bump back down.
yeah. Top five, probably not. Probably still towards the bottom. Um, above
Really,
above Attack of the Clones, above The Rise of Skywalker,
Phantom Menace
above The Phantom Menace. So probably, yeah, probably around where Force Awakens is. Probably fighting The Force Awakens in terms of climbing right now.
better than Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope for you? I know you're pretty low on those movies compared to me.
I honestly, A New Hope has jumped to the top. It's in my top five now.
Nice,
It's number
happy for
five.
that.
It's just
Nice.
it's hard deciding what number four is because again I have The Last Jedi and this is my top five are almost except A New Hope. They're never in particular order. I could easily be in the mood to watch any of them. That's again The Last Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Man, and probably wow. I'd probably say either I'll probably move this around. Probably either A New Hope or what's it called? We just don't have that many Star Wars movies, man. This is getting hard to remember. Or Revenge
Revenge,
of the Sith. It's hard to.
nice.
I do have a lot of problems with Revenge of the Sith. I was honestly thinking about making a whole YouTube video about why Revenge of the Sith is just a poor movie in general.
You would
I,
get killed on social media, but
I know.
you do
I
you.
I'll say this. I'll say this. I think in terms of cinema in the most recent years, I think Revenge of the Sith is the most overrated movie of all time, and it's only liked because Star Wars fans like how lightsabers look.
I'm not even gonna get into that debate with you. So,
No, because
I mean, we disagree. I love that film.
Yeah, okay, and I'll say that I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's not the best though.
Right.
In terms
I
of
have it at
story and whatnot,
I
it's just
have it
not
at
there.
4, but people who have it at like 1 or 2, I'm like,
You scare me because you're just like, what is your criteria? Like, here's the thing: if you genuinely think it's the best Star Wars movie, all power to you. I'm not gonna take that away from you
no, if
because
you love it,
because
that's awesome.
because I wouldn't want someone to take away The Last Jedi being my favorite. However, I do have to question your ability to critique a movie. Because if you're going to critique The Last Jedi, but you're not going to critique Revenge of the Sith for its many story, acting,
Alex,
choreography problems.
when we rewatched it, you and I had the same reaction with the same 40 minutes of screen time where Anakin's literally going around and having the same conversation with 4 different people.
It's literally the same thing where you're just like, oh my goodness, if I hear this man say he's pissed off with the Jedi one more goddamn time.
I don't trust the Jedi. Obi-Wan, I don't trust the Jedi. Padme, I don't trust the Jedi. Jedi, I don't trust you. Helps. I don't trust these guys. It's like, the movie is great at the end. The movie, the Invisible Hand stuff is better than I remember when I last rewatched it.
Yeah.
But the middle 40 minutes, like from like the end of the Invisible Hand to when Obi-Wan gets on Utapau, is bad.
Yeah. It's like, it's just like, I'm going to say it again. If you love the movie, I'm going to put all power to you that you think it's the best Star Wars movie. Again, I do have to question your ability to critique a movie though, because there are many glaring flaws with that movie, and some of them are just such sore thumbs, like the 40 minutes of downtime where it's Anakin complaining about the Jedi for 40 minutes.
It's just the same scene with different characters. Yeah. It's insane.
And again, that doesn't go to say anything. We see him complain hundreds of times in the Clone Wars series. However, it's more fleshed out. You understand his frustration more.
And Attack of the Clones, it's basically him just moaning the whole movie.
Yes, about how Obi-Wan doesn't do this, or Obi-Wan does that, or Obi-Wan isn't this, or that. Literally, that's why I just don't like the prequels. It's just Anakin complaining the entire time.
I feel like George Lucas has the same problem with me while I write. When I'm writing in school or something, we have so many thoughts in our head that we write too much.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it's just the same thing over and over again. We think it sounds really detailed in our head, but when we look at it visually, we're like,
yeah. And
we're just saying the same thing over and over again.
And I also want to say, like, to George Lucas's credit, you know, I've for my theater class, I've written scripts for many stories that we've told. I can tell you straight up, I'm not good at writing character development like that.
Nah.
But I can also point out when people aren't either, and I can tell you where they're going wrong. And George Lucas is not good at character development.
I mean,
I'm
last
sorry.
year,
I'm sorry. I have to say this because it has to be said. The prequels are the worst trilogy of Star Wars by this huge margin without the Clone Wars. If you don't have the Clone Wars movie and that TV series with it, it's a terrible trilogy. It doesn't piece together right. Anakin's a poorly written main character. The only interesting part about that trilogy without that TV series is Palpatine. And the soundtrack. Soundtrack's always fire, no matter how bad it is.
It's my second favorite trilogy, but it's not. People act like, whoa, the prequels are so much better than the sequels. They're not. There's a wide gap between the original trilogy and the prequels and the sequels, in my opinion. But between the prequel trilogy and sequel trilogy, for me, there's not that wide of a gap.
Yeah.
Like, I could rewatch it, I could change my opinion.
Here's my thing. I think this is it. I think this is the original trilogy, and then I think this is like the prequels and sequels. They're very interchangeable for some people. For me, it's like this. It's sequels and prequels.
Right.
That's just because I think here's my thing. 3 out of 3 movies are perfect in the original. 2 out of 3 are perfect in the sequels, and then 1 out of 3 are perfect in the prequels.
Yeah, see, for me, it's like the original trilogy is the holy trilogy. It's just like the original Spider-Man trilogy, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
And Bale's Batman. Yeah. But like the prequels, I love Revenge of the Sith, and with the sequels, I like The Force Awakens. The Last Jedi is okay. I don't hate it. And then the Rise of Skywalker, I don't like. Maybe the worst Star Wars movie.
Some of my favorite trilogies, bro, in cinematic history.
Oh, I forgot about Captain America. Sorry, that's another holy trilogy.
I was gonna say Captain America, 3 amazing movies. I will say Captain America: The Winter Soldier is also fighting Revenge of the Sith for one of the most overrated movies of all time.
Okay, we're going down a can of worms that will take us forever.
No. This is good discussion.
Right. But the Revenge of the Sith thing was actually a perfect segue into finally our first smaller topic, which was
you're going for structure. You should have just put these in a smooth transition instead of going into smaller topic transitions because it wasn't
I should have.
natural.
Well, listen, if you showed up last week, we wouldn't have to spend 30 minutes talking about what you missed. I'm joking, of
Oh,
course,
oh
but
well. Oh well.
yeah, oh well.
Fight me.
But yeah, guys, yeah, we're gonna move into our second topic, guys. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter, Hayden Christensen. So this is reliable, guys. This is a Hollywood trade. They know their stuff, so this is gonna happen. Hayden Christensen returning to Star Wars with the Ahsoka series. Well, it's already returning to Star Wars, but
Yeah,
it's gonna return
he's
again.
coming in Kenobi. God damn, he looks old.
That's
Sorry. Sorry, the wrinkles in his head were just like, oh my gosh.
the actor will reprise his role of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, in Ahsoka, the latest Star Wars live-action series from Lucasfilm and Disney Plus. Multiple sources tell the Hollywood Reporter. Rosario Dawson is going to play the fan favorite character Ahsoka Tano, a Jedi Knight survivor, popular on the animation side of Star Wars, made a live-action debut in the second season of The Mandalorian. I like what they did here. Plot details are being kept in the far reaches of the Outer Rim, but it's known that longtime Star Wars lightsaber wielder Dave Filoni is writing the series and executive producing with Jon Favreau. It's unclear how Skywalker, or that matter, Vader will figure into the show since it's set 5 years after Return of the Jedi and subsequently Vader's death. So, Alex, there's a lot of interesting things I want to talk about. I want to first talk about my reaction to this. I was going to a hockey game, a minor league hockey team that's in my town, and I got this news, and I didn't cry, I'll say, but I had an emotional reaction because I love these two characters. These were like the first two characters I saw in any new piece of Star Wars media, and to see them, what will be probably 15 years after the Clone Wars movie came out, be together on a live action screen, I I'm gonna bawl my eyes out, and I'm not afraid to say that. Like I
Well,
love these characters.
here's my reaction is well, I didn't know that happened. You actually told me on TikTok that happened.
Yeah,
So,
right, right.
all Drew sent me was one word, and it was Hayden. I was just like, "What happened?" He was like, "You didn't hear about what happened?" I was like, "No. What happened? Did he die?" I was like actually confused. I didn't ask you if he died, but I was like, "Did he die or something?" Um, no. And then you told me about what happened. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, crazy.
It's crazy. It is. I'm so excited. He's finally come back in another show. Like what?
It brings up an interesting conversation that we're gonna have. But my first point I want to make is like I thought about it today because I was thinking about the show today and what I was going to talk about, and I'm like, we haven't gotten Anakin stories past Return of the Jedi ever.
Nope.
This is going to be a continuation of Anakin's story, and it's what's really compelling to me is I don't think Anakin, even as the Force Ghost, has reached his full potential. Look at Yoda in The Last Jedi. How strong can Anakin Skywalker be? And of course, I don't want Anakin to be the main focus. Like, I don't want him to be the main focus of the future of Star Wars, but just to have him as a side character, like, how powerful does he become as a Force Ghost? So, my question to you, Alex, is then, how is he going to be utilized in Ahsoka?
Probably just like as a mentor figure.
Okay, so a Force Ghost.
Yeah. I think we'll also see flashbacks.
So,
however, it will be weird seeing Rosario Dawson as like young Ahsoka. Then I think they would honestly bring a recast for young Ahsoka and like all that. Could you see
we
her?
might see it in Obi-Wan.
I think we're going to also, which like, could you imagine how huge that is? We get
It's massive.
I'll say this, and it's probably one of my biggest things with Star Wars. I'm not a huge fan of, is we are getting very rare shout outs to the shows and whatnot. We get them, but they're not prominent and whatnot. Ahsoka was the first one where it was like, oh shit, it's Ahsoka Tano from Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
Like this isn't some character like, oh, if you know, you know, if you don't, you don't.
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, Saul Gerrera. Like he's like, if you didn't watch the Clone Wars TV show, who cares? He wasn't that interesting in the show. He appears in almost everything, by the way.
Yeah.
I think Ahsoka the sequels are going to be the first thing where he never appeared or was mentioned. So
right.
oof, We escaped him once, but he'll always come back. He'll always find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I think it's crazy like where we've gotten with this stuff. Like the fact that Disney is now it was one of the things that like while yeah, the main canon was Clone Wars in the movies, while George Lucas was in charge, they never felt connected. You had so many questions. Where was Rex? Where was Ahsoka? Where were all of these people that we meet in this TV show? Where were they? But Disney has come through, and yes, we were going to get more seasons. And I think we should. I think when we were talking about Clone Wars, I think did we talk about Clone Wars on the podcast? I don't think we did.
I don't think we ever have really.
No. It was one of those things that yes, we have to admit we were going to get more seasons of the Clone Wars without Disney. Disney stepped in and said to stop making the show.
Right.
And I think we can all say that bringing back Clone Wars was definitely a reactionary move to the fan backlash.
Well, you know who was a big person to bring it back was Kathy.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni talks about this, and I'm not the biggest fan of Kathleen Kennedy, but she's the reason it came back. Bob Iger's like, oh, it's animation. Like he didn't know how like immensely popular Star Wars animation was. Like I'll never forget when it was announced that it was coming back. It was crazy.
It was huge. It was a huge turning point for people.
And then that season 7, while some of the episodes are great, that final arc is fantastic. It's some of the best Star Wars.
It's easily better than almost all of the movies.
Yeah, it's probably the best clone. It is the best Clone Wars arc. I'm going to say it. It is the best.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely fighting Umbara, Mortis.
Yeah.
Trying to think off the top of my head. I haven't watched Clone Wars in forever. God.
The stuff with Maul and Savage is great. Yeah.
Ahsoka
Mandalore,
framed.
other Mandalore arcs. Yeah.
Ahsoka framed. D Squad.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Just so many good arcs in the show. But man, just the Mandalore arc, the Siege of Mandalore, it's going to be easily one of the most memorable things to happen to Star Wars of all time.
Right. And it was a perfect segue into Ahsoka's appearance in The Mandalore, which was fantastic.
Yeah. Which, like, it's crazy how actually perfect that was.
Yeah, it worked out. And there's a moment at the end of that episode where, like, she looks away as Din's flying away, and I thought for a second, like, Anakin, where is he? Like, I thought at that moment, and I remember I talked to you about this, Alex. I said, you can't have the story of Ahsoka Tano without Anakin Skywalker. Like, I felt like he had to be in the show, and to get it, like, basically officially confirmed is fantastic. And I think...
let me ask you this. Anakin Skywalker is going to be in the show. Do you think Luke Skywalker is going to be in the show?
I'm going to say yes. And I think there's multiple possibilities I think that could happen. So we know, or we can kind of put the pieces together that Ahsoka hasn't gotten that closure with what happened to her master, what happened with Vader, like what happened there. So either she could get that. So Force Ghosts, I'm not sure how the lore works necessarily. They only manifest when do they only manifest? Isn't it like a certain time they can show up?
They can manifest at any time. Okay. It's hard talking about Force because at the end of the day, if I had to relate it to someone like Marvel, they're like celestials. They're gods, basically. They are the god among gods. They experience time in one. They know what happened, they know what already happened, and they know what's going to happen.
Right.
So that's why this whole thing of they can't interfere is because if they interfere, they change things. They're going to change what happens.
Which would be really interesting down the line if they did something like that.
It's literally, that is honestly Star Wars' form of like timeline manipulation, is if the Force Ghost interferes. They're like the Watchers.
Right.
They know what can happen. They can give guidance, but they can't step in for you.
Okay.
And again, we see the power of Yoda as a Force Ghost. He's a god. He literally created a weather change and created a lightning storm.
Yeah, he interacted, but we know Obi-Wan sat on a log, but Yoda interacted with the physical world.
He literally smacked Luke with his stick.
Yeah.
They are. they can manifest into physical beings. They're not dead. They're not dead, but they're not alive either.
Right.
So it's something that like it's a huge thing that I think. Yeah, I think honestly, I think that could be the biggest segue into a what if Star Wars show.
Right. The
Is
Force Ghost.
what if Yoda as a Force ghost intervened, or something like that? Because again, Star Wars, and I will say this, depending on who you talk to, some people will always try to say that the world between worlds is Star Wars is key to time travel and whatnot. It's not. That's not what it is. Get it out of your head. Star Wars and time travel. Pretty sure Dave Filoni said this multiple times. It just will never work. It won't make sense on a proper
Right.
story level.
Mm-hmm.
In technicality, technically the Force Ghost could create time travel and whatnot, because they could technically go back in time and prevent events from happening.
Yeah.
Because if you think about how Loki has the timeline in a circle, that's we kind of see that in the world between worlds, like infinite doorways to multiple events in time. So,
yeah.
Because here's the thing: is again, Star Wars doesn't have time travel in a way. It technically does, because Ahsoka tells Ezra that if he pulls Kanan at the moment of that he dies, then everybody in the Phoenix crew dies. But that's not really time travel, because he kind of goes back in time and then resets time to that point, and then they kind of go from that point. It's really weird and finicky how time works in Star Wars, because when you think of time travel, you think of Barry Allen with running back in time.
The Avengers.
You think of the Avengers Endgame time travel, Back to the Future, how CW approaches time travel and other things and whatnot, Loki and whatnot.
I'm just thinking of it now. Do you think it'd be interesting if like Anakin somehow, like, because I very much, this is a want of mine, like Anakin's story to continue. Do you think Anakin could be like a problem as the Force Ghost, where like he does something that alters, like gets us to the point that the sequels happen?
Yeah. What if he intervenes at any point, like he tries to go back and stop himself from turning to the dark side?
Not even that, but just like in this timeline, what if he does something that causes like maybe he has a conversation with Ben because he sees what's gonna happen. And it just turns Ben even worse. What if it's really Anakin's fault, which I think would be stupid, but it'd be really interesting concept.
But I also think that it would be in character of Anakin to want to prevent another him happening.
Right. Try to overcorrect what his mistakes were.
But not only that, not only correcting another version of him, another one of his bloodline becoming the second Vader in command of the galaxy.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like that would be honestly super in character for Anakin to want to stop something before it happens.
Right.
And I think that would honestly lend more to me liking Revenge of the Sith, is if we saw that kind of consistency with Anakin, is if we see like he's like, oh no, I like have to stop this like right now. Because like I think that would just be super interesting. Because like the world between worlds is basically like when Ezra and Ahsoka are in there, they're in the form of Force Ghosts at that point, because they're seeing time happen as it all. We hear them hearing things from the sequel trilogy, from Rogue One, from the original trilogy. They're hearing things from the prequels and whatnot. It's things where time travel is just super weird, super finicky, and I don't think Star Wars will ever go down the road of time travel. I do want to ask, however, do you think we could ever see a character become a Force Ghost and then get resurrected? We see this happen a lot in Legends with character resurrection.
Maybe
really weird
far down the line, but not now.
And let me also ask you a follow-up to that. Do you think we will ever get time travel in Star Wars?
I'm not a big fan of the world between worlds, because this conversation, like even the fact that time travel even gets brought up is because of the world between worlds, and it's one of my biggest problems with Rebels. So no, I don't think we see it. Dave Filoni has said that he's not using the world between worlds again. That's a one-time thing.
Well, I don't know. I think he'll definitely bring them back.
I hope not. If it's in Ahsoka, I will. I'm not gonna hate the show, but I just don't like it.
I don't think Ahsoka's the appropriate place, but I think in like a Rebel sequel and whatnot, visiting that and whatnot, like it's like, do you ever think we'll get that kind of like Kang the Conqueror character? Because
Wouldn't it be Palpatine?
not really though. You can literally make it anybody.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
here's the thing. You know how Star Wars fans are with power scaling and whatnot. You hear people talk up and down how Nihilus is one of the most powerful Sith because he can eat a planet. Let's be real. If you played KOTOR 2, you know he's the biggest bitch in the planet. Like, that man dies so easily. Like, you
Revan
hear
slaps him, bro. Like
you lit
literally.
no, literally you hear Nihilus' story like, oh, he died but then got resurrected into his cloak, into his mask, and he eats planets to survive. It's like, yeah, but my man got folded in a fight with Revan.
Yeah.
And your character in KOTOR 2 slaps him in a fight.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He's
Like
overrated.
it's another thing with like Darth Sion and Darth Treya, even Malik and Revan to a degree. They're overrated in terms of their power. They're powerful. Like Malik and Revan are powerful. They're probably on the scale of probably like someone like Obi-Wan or Ahsoka or Ezra. Ezra more specifically, in terms of their potential power. But my guy, those people get folded in almost every fight they're in.
Right.
Like in terms of the one person who I would say, or the two characters in Legends who easily fit their power scale, where Star Wars tends to put them, is Satele Shan and Darth Malgus. They fit their power scale. Satele Shan, I'm telling you now, would clap any single Jedi in canon. It would literally be like it would be a nasty fight. And Malgus would clap any Sith.
Yeah. But to get off, like, I guess the Old Republic and like this time travel conversation, to get back to the original premise, which was about Hayden returning.
I don't know how we got to that point, but we did.
As a Force ghost. So what I was gonna say at one point, well, we got from Luke and then we went all over the place, but I love it. I think there's two ways they're gonna go with it. The closure for Ahsoka, like with Hayden, I would cry. And then I also think there could be a chance that Anakin talks about his son and says, I have a son and I have a daughter too.
Yeah.
And I think you should meet him. Like he says, you should meet him, but he knows they already meet at some point. Like, you should meet them.
Yeah. It's weird because Ahsoka is a miniseries. Like, that was confirmed a miniseries,
Yeah,
right?
right.
I wish it was a multi-series, bro. I wish it was multiple seasons.
They got it all mapped out.
I know. It's the Filoni, it's the Mandoverse. I'm not complaining. Which, like, I'm honestly like, I'm so excited. Like, we are getting a lot next year. Like, it's really weird how Star Wars is. We have the High Republic in one area, like we have the I don't know if it's fans call it the High Republic verse because it's in its own like little pocket part of Star Wars. But then we're weirdly, I don't know what it is about Star Wars or Disney specifically in this 10-year gap after Revenge of the Sith and 9 years before A New Hope. We have Rebels in this time. We have Kenobi. We're gonna have Andor. Is Solo around this time also? It's like what is happening here?
And then now we're hyper fixated on 5 years after Return of the Jedi, which I'm excited for because it feels like another version of Clone Wars, like another version of stories in between movies, which I love.
Although it's not going to be as big, we have the Bad Batch and Clone Wars picking up right off of each other.
Right.
It's like, I wish we got to a point where, I know we never will just because Disney Plus would never do this. I wish we got to a point like how the CW was, where every so often we would have this huge crossover event, but still every week episodes of each show were releasing. Like, I don't know if this is how it was. I think like Mondays, The Flash came out, and then
I know what you're saying.
And then Wednesday, I think Supergirl came out, and I think Friday Arrow came out. So you could time them up. So Monday you'd get part one of a crossover, and then I don't remember when Legends of Tomorrow and Vixen and all them came out.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You could easily have these like, things going on and whatnot. And I wish we would get that. I wish we didn't have to have like a big tie-in for one show.
Yeah,
Like,
I get that. I get that.
I wish we would get like the second Siege of Mandalore Part 1 in The Mandalorian Season 3, the second Siege of Mandalore in The Book of Boba Fett, the second Siege of Mandalore in Ahsoka, and then have it culminate in a movie or something.
Yeah, I've got trust in Filoni and Favreau, so like I'm not even. I know you do too, but I know you're just thinking like
Yeah,
talk about what you would like to see, but
yeah, I
I'm not
trust
even
them
gonna
too.
stress about that.
I'm assuming it's probably just gonna be like a building blocks. Like Ahsoka's gonna build off of Mandalorian, and then or Book of Boba Fett, and then it's just gonna go like
Yeah,
this, and then it's gonna culminate. I'm assuming that's what they're gonna do, but I wish they would kind of take the approach of like the CW, where it's one show has the part one show has the part two, and then one show has the part three.
Do you got any final thoughts on Hayden coming back? I feel like you talked
Um,
about everything
I
else,
know,
but
I know, and it's just because that conversation brings back so much because of the Anakin character and
right,
what would he do as a Force ghost.
right, which
Um,
is a great conversation.
I know.
Yeah, it was.
I'm excited. I'm happy he's back. I'm happy he's gonna be coming back frequently now. So
Yeah, oh yeah, I think he
super
loves being in Star Wars. I just think
super
he loves it
excited.
now.
Yeah, I think he also loves it because the fans love him now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That would be a huge perk. So
The
why am I?
question is, well, the question is for you guys. What do you think about Hayden returning in Ahsoka? Do you think he will return in more projects? Do you think his Force Ghost alters the course of the Star Wars universe as we know it? Is that why the sequels happen the way they do? Let us know what you think down below
No,
about what's going to happen.
my guy. Don't even answer that. Don't answer that bag of worms.
Um, so Alex, our second topic. By the way, that's the way I want to go with like, so I know when to clip it, so
Oh, okay,
it's easier
okay,
for me to edit. Um,
okay,
our
okay, Missy.
our second main topic. Jesus, dropped my AirPods. Jesus Christ. Our second main topic. Um, is about two Sony Marvel movies being announced. This comes from Aaron Couch over at I don't know. Is he Sony or Hollywood Reporter? I'm not sure, but I know he's one of those. Yeah, Hollywood Reporter. He says Sony has added two untitled Marvel movies to the calendar, June of 2023 and October 6th of 2023. It already had Craven the Hunter, which will be played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, on the calendar for January of 2023. Alex, got any thoughts?
Before we get into this, I have a question. Is Moon Knight coming out next year or in 2023?
Next year.
Okay, I thought it got. For some reason, I thought it was 2023. I'm excited. More Marvel movies, the better. I know it's really weird right now where Star Wars Marvel stands right now because we kind of are at this weird thing where you know is technically now every single Marvel movie gonna start becoming MCU canon and whatnot. Um, I don't know. I don't know what these movies could be. I saw the one of the replies where MCU Spider-Man 4, I don't and Venom 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly those are the more likely candidates. Except Spider-Man 4. Venom 3 for sure, but not Spider-Man 4.
Okay, so my overall thoughts on this is excited about the Sony verse. Sony expanded out these characters. Obviously, Venom, I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. Liked the second one a lot more.
Mm.
Really excited to see what they do with them in the MCU and subsequently Venom 3, which I think is that October 6th date. They love having Venom in October. The first one was in October. The second one was obviously in October.
Mm.
So it would make sense for the first week of October of 2023 to be reserved for Venom 3, which I think will be the big fight between Tom Holland's Spider-Man and his Venom, Tom Hardy's Venom. The other movie, I don't think it's Spider-Man 4. That feels too soon. I think you would agree on that, right?
And Tom Holland said that he's taking a break from Spider-Man after No Way Home.
Right. Yeah, it would. So like Venom 3 would make sense for Tom's return.
Yeah.
Just not his own Spider-Man film. Like he's not the main character. So
Yeah. It's also weird because here's the thing is that we know Tom is locked down for one more big crossover or one more big
Right.
team up movie. So where that could take place in another Avengers 5 or whatever, who knows?
But it doesn't matter for Venom,
Yeah,
obviously, because it's
no,
Sony, so they
yeah,
just own
it's a,
them,
yeah.
which is beneficial to Sony.
Which, well, not even that. I mean, with Venom being part of the MCU, technically, and I think honestly, if you think about it, this was honestly Disney's kind of workaround for that contract with Tom, is that you can say because of the multiverse being open, sure, any movie that Sony makes, it's just going to be subjugated into the MCU now.
Right, and you can bring those Sony characters like we did with Venom
Yeah,
into the MCU. Morbius might be
yeah,
outside, you might bring him in, or
because
he's already in
yeah,
the universe because we see Michael
yeah,
Keaton's Vulture in the
yeah.
trailer. So,
We
like,
we talked about this earlier. Sony and Disney's relationship, they're on mutual terms. Like they are at this point brother sister companies.
absolutely. And
Like
you know why
again,
Sony is smart for doing it? Because it makes you more money if it's part of the MCU.
and
Absolutely.
not only that, again, we see like Sony basically told Disney to take the wheels of Spider-Man or take the wheel of Spider-Man. We literally see Disney gave let them use Wolverine for a game. Like
Yeah.
it's again, it's a trust thing. Honestly, they trust each other now, which is a huge
Hmm.
thing because that could mean we could get more than just uh, Peter Parker. We could get Miles Morales. We got a tease of Miles Morales in a deleted scene for Homecoming. Um, so it's like we could be on the verge of some huge things for this, crossover between these two
Right.
companies. Again, it's so much so that instead of Sony making their own streaming service, they're putting everything they have on Disney Plus.
Hmm. And it
It's
makes a lot of sense if it's going to be part of the MCU. And uh,
yeah,
I just think Sony realizes that, like, obviously they'd make a ton shitload of money with Spider-Man solo films, but like if you could have your other Spider-Man associated characters in that bigger universe, you're gonna make more money with those solo films if they play a significant role in a larger
yeah.
universe. It just makes
Literally,
more sense.
look how much money Homecoming made just because of 8 minutes of Robert Downey Jr. in it.
Right, and look at Venom 2. Venom 2 was the highest grossing movie since the pandemic. Venom
Lit-
2.
Literally, I'll be honest, it's not a very good movie. It's not a very good movie.
Well, no, it's not a movie that, well, I like it. It's not a movie you would suspect to be the highest grossing film of a year for opening weekend.
No,
Um,
definitely not.
yeah, so like that's all fantastic. I think the other movie I was reading, I was just looking at the replies and reading stuff from Hollywood Trade. So there were two movies that I had in mind. So Olivia Wade said that she was directing a Spider-Man movie, and people think it's Spider-Woman. That was reported a couple of years ago by the Hollywood Trades. And then there was another one from the Hollywood Trades. I think it was the Hollywood Reporter that reported on Madam Web. Now, to give a background on Madam Web, she's like a, a spider leader who basically connects the Spider Men from other universes to each other. So I think one of that's what the other movie is going to be, because I don't think it could be Morbius 2. I think that's too soon.
Yeah.
And I don't think it could be Spider-Man 4. So, like, Alex, what do you think about like a Spider-Woman or a Madam Web type of thing? What do you think about that? Because that's interesting.
I'm down for anything right now. So I don't know. I'm not hugely into those characters, so I'll take anything right now. It's like I said, the more Marvel, the better, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I don't care in what form we get it. I'm
Yeah.
just now. I'm just nervous about the Eternals now.
Right. We'll talk about that next week. So that the Spider Woman and Madam Web was a perfect segue into our final topic. We got some images, guys, from
More.
Empire magazine for Spider-Man No Way Home. But before we get into that, the question is for you guys. What do you guys think about Sony announcing two Marvel movies for 2023 besides Craven the Hunter? What do you think they'll be, and like how important do you think they'll be to the Sonyverse and the overall MCU? So now we are going to segue into our Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes, topic. We're going to talk about like the Empire magazine, some of the quotes John Watts had, and Peter I was gonna say Peter Parker,
Peter
Tom
Parker.
Holland had. But first, I want to share an image. I don't know if you saw this today, Alex, but this is one of the images that was shared by Empire. Did you see this?
Yeah, the Doc Ock one. It's so funny to me. I always laugh every time I see it. It looks so weird. Because here's the thing,
Um,
it looks fake. It looks fake.
it looks so funny to me. I just love it. The other one looks really weird. The one where he's running away
Yeah.
looks.
Have you seen the memes from it, bro? It's so bad. Oh my goodness.
It's such a bad still. Like
Yeah. Well,
it's like his.
I think it was still in post production and whatnot, but
Yeah, his face looks done here.
yeah,
Like in the other
this
one,
was
his face doesn't look done.
um I I don't know. Because here's the thing. Far From Home had a lot of Spider-Man suits in it. It had the homemade suit. It had the first Stark suit. It had the Iron Spider. It had um the the black and red suit. There was another one I'm missing. I think might have been it. Yeah. Oh, and the Night Monkey suit. But this movie is literally has like 30 suits in it. It is crazy.
Right.
And
By the way,
it's also weird that it looks like his preferred suit is the Iron Spider suit.
yeah, well, it's not going to be after this because this thing's getting destroyed.
Oh, for sure. It's almost definitely going to get destroyed. Can it get destroyed? It's nanites. You feel like you could just replace them.
That is true, but doesn't Tony's like at some point not replace?
Well, that's literally because it got like obliterated by the Power Stone, and the fact that it was
Right.
literally even working after that
Right. Listen,
is a
I don't know.
testament
Maybe
to how
Doc
good
Ock.
Tony's tech is.
Maybe Doc Ock's arms got some special sauce in them, man. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But
Yeah.
I love this image.
What if his arms, Doc Ock's arms in this movie, gets upgraded to like vibranium?
Yeah, that's really interesting because like, dude, Doc Ock is like these Spider-Man villains are just gonna be so overwhelmed with like the amount of superheroes in this universe if they ever find out. I don't know if they find out or not, but like,
I know. Also, it's like I know we haven't. I don't know if you're going to plan on talking about this. The report that there's not going to be a Sinister Six in this movie, but there's. I don't know what fans are calling it. There's going to be five, and it's the five
so
confirmed one that we have.
this
Or
comes from
confirmed.
this comes from my guy Big Screen Leaks on Twitter. Shout out to him. He was the first to report it, and then viewer anon. Again, we don't usually talk about leaks, or we've stopped in the past couple of weeks just because they kind of ruined some things, or I don't know. I didn't find him as funny either, and Alex didn't as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rhino not being in the movie. The more you think about it, the more it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like he's like in like what, like 2 minutes of
Yeah.
the second Amazing Spider-Man. So like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It didn't make sense at the beginning, and it doesn't make sense now to have him in. It honestly would have made more sense to have Venom in his place. But whatever. Just Rhino being in the movie, honestly, I didn't like how Rhino was portrayed in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So
It didn't make sense. And plus the less like obviously the big three of this movie is Jamie Foxx's Electro, Doc Ock, agree. Like I would have been fine just with that even.
yeah, well, just literally just those three. I would have been fine with. But now here's my thing: is now
I like
people are
Sandman
hearing,
too. I like
like,
Sandman too. And
people are hearing the fact that there's not going to be a Sinister Six, and they're saying it's going to be a bad movie now.
no, you
Like,
can't say that.
I'm just like, you can't. I was like, don't put those expectations. Literally, here's the thing: is now people are now being like talking like I go to some people talking about No Way Home, and the comics are literally like wars. Like people being like, hey, temper your expectations that we might not get the Sinister Six. We might just only get the 3 confirmed people that we have. That's it.
Right.
We could only get 5. We might not get Toby and Andrew, even though they most likely are in the movie. It's still a possibility that they're not going to play big roles.
It does make sense that Randall's not it. For one, we do see all 5 of the Sinister 5 in the first trailer. We see Sandman's like Storm.
We don't know if that was Sandman. That could have been Electro. You don't know yet.
I don't. But then we see Lizard jump out at Tom. I know you thought it was Venom, but it is Lizard.
Well, I know it's Lizard now because if you brighten it, you can definitely see it's Lizard.
Right.
So again,
plus it has a tail, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's why. It's like that's why. What's it called? That's why I think this movie worries me more than Eternals does, and Eternals got me shaking right now. So
I got you shaking, Alex.
But Eternals has me like, or Spider-Man: No Way Home has me worried because it's got the Last Jedi effect. I'm sorry, it's got the Last Jedi tone.
Well, here's the thing, Alex. So right now the rumor is that Toby and Andrew are in the movie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's also a problem because this is
Tom Holland's 3rd movie.
And listen, I love Toby, and if he's in a lot of the movie, I won't complain. But like, I feel like it would almost be better if he was just in like that 3rd act.
Yeah, and then people want him to be. It's weird because people don't want him to be Spider-Man. They want him to be a variant of Ben Parker. I'm just like, but like,
what?
But
wait,
why?
People really want that?
Yeah, they want him to be a variant of Ben Parker.
They want Toby to be Ben Parker.
Yes. Okay. So basically, the rundown of it is that Ben Parker was Spider-Man instead of Peter Parker, kind of like how Jay Garrick was the Flash on Earth 3 in the CW show.
Okay.
It's like we have the Flash, but it's not Barry Allen. It's someone else. But he's still the Flash. It's weird. And then
so it would be just Toby as Spider-Man still, but it wouldn't be Peter Parker, it'd be Ben Parker.
Yes. But it's like, but why? Iron Man was his Ben Parker.
Right. And you can still have Toby be the mentor figure. He can just be an older Peter Parker. Like, it doesn't have to be.
No, and it's weird. Like, why would you want that? Again, we've never seen Ben Parker in the MCU, so there's no reason to have him now. Like, we literally have 2 mentions of him in the MCU. We have his briefcase in Far From Home, and then he's flat out mentioned in What If. Oh, well, that's okay. Well, technically, also there is a slight nod to him in Homecoming. He tells Ned that he doesn't want to tell May that he's Spider-Man because of everything that's happened recently to her. You know, subsequently Ben's death and whatnot.
Right. So like it doesn't.
Which also, I'm sorry, I know we're talking about Spider-Man and whatnot, bro. I just feel like Marissa Tomei as Aunt May is honestly probably like the most realistic Aunt we've ever seen. Not Aunt May, Aunt. Because you got to think, how old were Peter's parents then? If that's how old Aunt May was looking in the Toby movies.
Yeah, like she was like grandma. But then also, do you feel like Toby is a high schooler?
No.
I feel like Toby should be in like college, bro, like grad school.
I know. Like, what do you?
Andrew just feels like the jock that's a 6-year high school. That's what I feel like with Andrew.
Yeah.
Like people say Andrew was too cool to be Spider-Man. Like, bro, that's his whole purpose. Like Spider-Man's like a dork, but he's also like a stud.
Let's also remember that people said that Venom fits it with Andrew Garfield, not Tom Holland. And then we get Venom, Let There Be Carnage. He's literally at a partying with
people. Are like Venom is too dark for Tom Holland. Literally, the whole movie is the comedic gag.
And then again, it's literally like they're like, oh, it's too dark. Where he literally transforms out of being Venom to go back into Eddie's like, that is a red one. Like,
dude, he's like you were saying, he's at a party and he's dancing with people. Like,
it's like, what do you mean he's too dark? Like, honestly, that's why I think if we do see Venom in No Way Home, he's gonna be an ally to Spider-Man.
I could see that, but I think it'd be a post-credit scene, probably. I
do too.
Where like everything's settled, and then Venom just goes lunch as he sees Tom Holland walking by or something stupid.
Yeah,
I
it's
would
like,
just love if he says lunch, and
could
then
you
that's how it
like?
ends.
I'm just excited to see the possibilities of Toby and Andrew and whatnot. But like, um, man, Doc Ock, man, it's exciting. That picture looked real good. Again, I do question though, why is Peter's like almost go-to suit the Iron Spider suit?
Yeah, I just feel like it's the most advanced, right?
I think so, but like if you think about it, we have you. I don't know how recently you watched Far From Home. Um, have you seen what it takes to charge that suit?
Takes a while, right? I don't
It
remember. I
literally takes
haven't.
like it takes like almost all of the electric circuits in his room, and he can't turn off his lights and all that.
In the image that he's running away, it looks like his eyes are off.
I know it looks really weird.
No, like the suit. I'm saying like the suit might have died.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll keep talking. So, uh, next we'll segue into the article because that's kind of all I wanted to say. Um, on that note, but we'll segue now into the article, and the first one is about it's from John Watts, and we'll show what John Watts says before Alex gets back. Um, John Watts says that this is Spider-Man's Endgame. We got an exclusive image here. If you guys didn't see it, I kind of know where this is from. I won't say. Um, oh, you're back. I was gonna kind of talk about what I think this is from based off of leaks, but I won't say it. Um, so John Watts, Alex, this is basically the quote I wanted anyways. It's in the title. Spider-Man Endgame, says director John Watts. Do you think this is it for Tom Holland Spider-Man?
No.
Right.
Well, first of all, contractually, he has one more team up movie. So,
Correct.
but after that team up movie, no. There's still so much to talk about with him. He still has so many interactions with villains and whatnot that we still haven't
Scorpion.
seen. Yeah, I mean, we saw him a little bit with Scorpion, but Rhino, but hold on. Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, but I agree with Alex. I don't think this is Spider-Man's Endgame at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I think that it's the end game of the home trilogy as we're calling it. But
Oh my
he's
god.
gonna get a he's gonna get a
The memes. The memes. The E3 memes of like No Way Home is the final entry in the Homecoming trilogy. It's like, well, yes, that's how trilogies work.
right. Yeah, it's the end game of the home trilogy, but he's gonna get a college trilogy.
Almost certainly. Which, like,
He's
honestly,
probably gonna get an adult trilogy. Like I could see a whole saga of films with Tom Holland.
yeah.
Why do you get rid of your most
I was
profitable Spider-Man?
honestly, I gotta
Because
see real fast. How much did Far From Home make in the box office?
Spider-Man, this Tom
Oh
Holland. So
wow, it
the
made one
reason that
point 132 billion dollars.
the reason that Spider-Man 4 with Toby never happened was because Raimi and them that was done. They screwed
Oh,
up Spider-Man
and by the
3.
way, Homecoming made $880 million. So just 100, basically around $100 million, under $1 billion. Like it's easily one of Marvel's most profitable characters.
Then the Amazing Spider-Man, those mess.
The Amazing
And
Spider-Man wasn't so amazing.
then we had the consistency we've had with Tom Holland. He's the most profitable Spider-Man,
Well,
and
not
he's one
even
of the
only
most
that. He's the most consistently good Spider-Man.
well movie-wise. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Toby is the holy trilogy, but
Nostalgia. Said that.
what?
Oh, nothing. I just heard someone say nostalgia, and just weird.
Right,
Everyone
but you
said
could
nostalgia.
also say that for the original trilogy.
Yeah, but those movies are actually good. No, I'm joking. I like those
Right.
movies
It's
too.
I mean, I know we like to I know you like the character that he gets all of his suits from rich billionaire guy while the other two have to make their own suits. I know
He makes his
listen.
own suit, you
I know
idiot.
he does. I know he does, but
Don't make me start this conversation into insults, bro.
it's supposed to be a gag. But anyways, yeah,
I know where you live.
I think that he's the most profitable, and he's a popular actor right now. Tom Holland is extremely popular.
Yeah,
Tobey Maguire.
I will say, like, love Tom and whatnot. My man, he's not Nathan Drake. He's not Nathan Drake. Have you seen the Uncharted trailer?
Oh no, I haven't. I don't. I mean, I'm a big Wally Wahlberg guy because I'm from
No.
Boston, but
My
or
God.
I'm not from Boston, but I've been to the Boston area. I live near it, so like, yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't know who
My
those characters are.
my
I'm
God. Okay,
sorry.
I like to play the Uncharted games when I was like a bit younger and
Okay,
whatnot.
but let's get off.
Hold on. No, no, no,
Let's
no,
get
no,
off
no.
of
Listen,
Uncharted.
listen, listen, listen. This ties in, okay? You know how many people were saying that the Uncharted trailer was the second Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, and how many people were falling for it, like on TikTok? I don't know how, but they were.
I think Tom Holland should be the next 007. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
should be the next James Bond.
Oh, my guy.
Why not?
Uh, what? No, what if he played the next Sherlock? Then we could have the holy trinity of Robert Downey Jr.,
I was
Benedict
just gonna say,
Cumberbatch.
it doesn't. Wait, yeah, right, yeah. Roberts is horrible, by the way. Not him, but that Sherlock Holmes is horrible. Um, but yeah, back to, so we don't think this is Spider-Man's Endgame, right?
Well, Avengers Endgame was kind of tailored like it was the last Avengers movie, but it's not because we know we're getting an Avengers 5. So
I think it's the like the last time we see them all together, I guess. Like,
again we know that's not because they're planning an Avengers 5.
well, no, I'm talking about Toby, Andrew, like, and Tom. It's like the last time.
Oh,
It's the last time and the first time we'll see them all together on screen, I guess you could say.
yeah. I
Like, there's
mean,
different interpretations of it, but the interpretation that it's the finale of this Spider-Man is not true.
no, yeah, absolutely not. Again, just contractually, we know he has one more team up movie to his name. I think this is his last solo movie dedicated to the MCU. And also, again, Disney, Sony, they're on working terms with each other. They're avidly working together. So, who's to say where it goes from there? I don't think this will be the last time, especially even after that team up movie. I don't think that'll be the last we see of Tom Holland as
No,
Spider
definitely
Man.
not.
Again, Sony would just be losing too much money, and especially if they found out that it was not MCU related, it wouldn't intrigue people to want to watch it. So,
Right.
and again, Tom Holland is basically bound to the MCU. Sony
Yeah.
set themselves up for that.
Yep.
And if they ever want to recast him, they absolutely can. Just like what they're doing with Batman. Like Robert Pattinson, he's not DCEU connected like Ben Affleck is, but you can still go tell other Batman stories without breaching with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson's on Earth too. Yeah.
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 It's a different thing, and that's okay with me.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'd be down to see Venom fight another Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah, like a
It didn't
Venom
have to be
fought
Tom
like a
Holland.
Spider-Man on his world. I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Like whoever the Spider-Man is in Eddie Brock's universe.
Like, I wouldn't have as much attachment. Like, him fighting Toms is a lot cooler than just some
Yeah.
rando Spider-Man. But like,
Well,
yeah,
I doubt they
I
get
agree
some
with that.
rando.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And the last article for this topic is Tom Holland says the film has one of his coolest scenes ever with a mystery character. Okay, there's a multitude of options we have here.
Who is the mystery character?
Okay, so there's, in my opinion, Alex, there's three glaringly obvious choices.
Well, let's see if we have the same people.
Toby.
Yep, that's one.
Andrew. Charlie Cox is Daredevil.
Yeah. Andrew, I'm a bit finicky on. I was gonna say the other three could be. I know you're gonna fight me for saying this, but Eddie Brock.
I just don't think Venom has that big of a role in the movie.
Bro, you never know. I will say to the day that movie comes out that man is gonna have a big role in that movie. You don't do a big tease like that and then don't follow up on it.
I
That is
think it's
like
just
no, that'd be like if The Force Awakens came out and then when The Last Jedi came out, it like went like 10 years in the future. You're just like, what the shit was that ending then?
well, no, I just feel like Venom 2 is just setting up like, oh, he's just in Spider-Man's universe and like
Well,
he'll
for
fight
what then?
Spider-Man.
For what? To look
Yeah, for
cool?
his third movie. For Venom's third movie. That's what you set it up for.
No, I think it would make so much sense to have him in that movie.
Right,
Come
but it
on.
just like he just can't be
Especially
friends
because
with Spider-Man.
again, just because like we know that Venom Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man No Way Home, they were filming near each other. Not like they were in cooperation with filming. Like they knew what was happening on both sets. Like, come on.
Right.
You got to tell me that you don't think there's not going to be any sort of Venom in that movie.
No, he'll be a post-credit scene in No Way Home. That
I
sets
think
up.
he's got to be more than that, dude. You don't set. Here's the thing: is you don't set up a character like Venom and make him a post-credit scene. That's disrespectful, first of all, to the character, and that's such a letdown from that post-credit scene. That huge, groundbreaking, arguably the most groundbreaking post-credit scene of all time.
Well, Alex, let me ask you this: if he is a prominent character in this movie, um, he's not going to have a lot of screen time as it is, and he's just going to get overshadowed by everything else.
Will he though?
Absolutely. And then what do you make the third Venom about? The third Venom is going to be about him fighting Spider-Man. I
Who
think.
knows?
I think that's a glaring obvious.
But it's like,
So like
but
you
then
can't
are you
have him
really?
you can't have
Here's the
him
thing.
fight Spider-Man in this
Hold
movie.
on, but here's my thing: is are you really then gonna either villainize Eddie Brock or Peter Parker?
You're gonna
Because
have
here's
it
the
as
thing:
Peter.
well, you can't villainize Peter Parker. That's like
Yeah, you
that's like
can.
no, that's like villainizing Batman or Superman. Those never go over well.
Well, you technically, from a certain point of view, can say Batman's a villain. Well, not a villain, but he's not a great guy.
I mean, yeah, and I can easily make that argument. Same thing with Oliver Queen as the Green Arrow. He kills people, and no matter what
Right.
universe you're reading, comics, Smallville, Arrowverse, he kills people. That doesn't
Hmm.
make him a good person, but he does good things. He saves
Right.
hundreds of people's lives, no matter what, and he's the one who has to take the mental trauma from it all. And I think
Right.
if you put Tom Holland as the villain, you're therefore ruining Peter Parker because then you villainize him.
I don't think you necessarily have to make him the villain, Alex, but you'd have to make it so Eddie's perspective is that he's the villain.
But then it's like, well, what would Peter have to do that Eddie would be on board with Venom of Peter being an enemy?
I just think that post credit scene.
But for what? Eddie didn't say anything.
Right. But
Like
Venom
Eddie was
Venom's
speechless after that.
um if Venom could convince Eddie that he is a bad guy, if Venom touches on the hive mind, we don't know about that. That was really interesting in that post credit scene. Like, does he already know a Spider-Man from another universe? Maybe that convinces Eddie or something like that. Uh, so there's a lot of what ifs and questions there. But if Venom does play a prominent role, he'd have to be part of the Sinister Six, and I feel like he just would not make sense with any of those villains.
But I think here's my thing: is that's the purpose, is that he wouldn't make sense. So that would be his joining factor to join Spider-Man. Like have Venom disconnect from Eddie to go on to Peter. And then Peter and Strange could figure out that Venom doesn't like sound or fire. So then that would make Venom want to reattach to Eddie. Then we have the iconic Venom look. And then we could also see Eddie talk sense into Venom to help Peter return him to his home. Because then you could easily say Venom's whole thing or Eddie's whole thing is that he wants to get back to Anne and whatnot and Dan, make sure they're okay. And you could have it be a thing that Venom wants to go make sure that because we know Venom loves Anne. Make sure help him go home. It's a thing like that where you don't villainize Venom because you can't villainize him now. He's the main character and main hero of 2 movies. If you villainize him now, it's like got the reverse Darth Vader effect. You've already told his story of him becoming Venom. If you now villainize him, it's going to feel really weird and out of place.
Yeah, I just disagree, and just based off of leaks and stuff, it doesn't seem that Venom plays a prominent role. I could be wrong. You could be right. I wouldn't mind seeing what you're talking about. I think that'd be cool. But to get back to what Tom was saying, I mean, I think it would be funny to see Eddie and Venom at a dinner table talking with Tom, and just like Venom being so intrigued with Spider-Man.
Like that, like he's like eating something, like he turns away, and Venom like starts to like slowly go at him. His spider sense turns on, and he's like, what are you doing back there?
Yeah. And Venom's like, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
It's tempting. You look real tempting.
And then I think it's probably Toby, but I think it'd be really interesting if it's Charlie Cox.
It's Charlie Cox or it's Toby.
I don't think it's Andrew, but I think it's probably Toby.
Because like, is Andrew really that special? Like, no offense to Andrew Garfield, but is he really that special?
No, it's just he's special to some people, and that's
a very small crowd. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't know if I can respect your. No. I'm not going to go down that.
He's not special enough to save Gwen Stacy, but sorry.
Come on, bro. I don't know what is going on. I don't know if you've seen this. What are all these Ned jokes? What are all these goddamn Ned jokes on TikTok?
Wait, what do you mean?
Everyone is like fat shaming Ned now.
Why?
I don't know. And maybe it's because the actor got into shape for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, which is awesome.
But literally, bro.
Jacob is his name, correct? Am I right on that?
Yeah. It's just like, come on.
That's ridiculous.
I thought we were a little bit more mature than this.
Yeah. But anyways, it has to be Toby.
Yeah, it's
like Toby. They're not even hiding it now. No. So funny. Do you think?
Let me ask you, because Alfred Molina says that he's the same. He's the same Doc Ock from the River. Do you think that's Toby's Doc Ock?
Yes.
I think it is also. I question the costume change though.
I question like Green Goblin though. How does that work?
Yeah, my man's dead. Like he's dead by that point.
Dude got stabbed right in the dick when he dies.
Like,
what I think happens is like before they get hit, they transport, but how does that work?
Yeah.
Because again, you could make the argument time moves differently, and by the time that he gets transported, by the time he gets back, he gets hit. Like you could make that argument.
I'm so dumb. I didn't even realize the like Sinister Six that they were forming were the main villains of their movies. I didn't even like put that together until right now. That's crazy.
That's why I said Venom. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Venom was a main villain of one of the movies.
Correct, but it's not.
It's Topher Grace's Venom, but Venom is Venom. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I still have not rewatched Spider-Man 2 or 3. I should probably get to that. After this, I'm probably gonna finish because I started like the first 15 minutes of Into the Spider-Verse at school, and then I fell asleep during the movie because I was really tired. And then I tried watching it earlier, and I fell asleep during it because I was just so tired.
I gotta watch the X-Men movies, but that's a whole different topic. Yeah. I gotta rewatch them. But yeah, we think it's Toby. I think it has to be.
It's Toby or God. Who we just say? I'm like
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox. Yeah, I just like.
But I don't think we see Daredevil in a suit, and I don't think we get it referred to him as like, oh, he's Daredevil. He's a Superman or like a superhero. I don't think that happens. Yeah, Daredevil's. Yeah, whatever.
Like we didn't even talk about what's it called. I didn't even get to put my thoughts in about Hawkeye in the 2-episode announcement.
Okay, but before we get to that, that'll probably be the last thing. the question is for you guys. What do you think about all this Spider-Man news? Who do you think is the mystery character Tom is talking about? Do you think this is Spider-Man's endgame? How much more Tom Holland do we see? What do you think about Venom's role in Spider-Man No Way Home? Answer down below. Alex, you want to talk about Hawkeye? Go ahead
Quickly,
before
I
we
would like
wrap
to
up the
wrap up
show.
Hawkeye. 2 episode releases. That is crazy. Now
It
it's
makes
obvious.
sense.
It's obvious why they're doing it. It's so that it doesn't. The finale doesn't coincide with the premiere of the Book of Boba Fett. But man, I'm excited. 2 hours of Hawkeye. I'm excited.
I am just by like the promo footage, I've gotten lesser and lesser excited. I was
I'm
originally really excited.
I'm so
I
excited.
think it should have been a darker, grittier show. It could be. I could be
Yeah,
reading
you
it all
don't
wrong.
know what it's gonna be about.
Right. But I'm still excited. I'm still
Honestly,
optimistic.
this honestly puts me like at a thing. I kind of want to wait until Christmas to watch the show, like because it's a Christmas show.
Right, but I just want to watch it right when it comes out.
Which,
And
like, honestly, do you think? I mean, I'm going to also, but do you think this is going to be one of those things like you watch every Christmas, depending on how
if
good it
it's
is?
good, then yeah.
I don't know. I can't wait. And also, question: do you think we could get a season 2,
Possibly, yeah.
where it's a bit darker?
Possibly. It all depends.
Because here's the
But
thing: is like we know the show. This show, let's be real. This show is based on a dark premise. Like, this is Hawkeye dealing with the past of being like an assassin, like
mhm,
a vigilante assassin. Like,
right.
this is not built on some Happy Joys, Families Back Christmas movie. This is
Yeah.
this guy's got PTSD from being Ronin, and my guy's deaf. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's gonna be crazy. He also has like one of the like we're getting so many like deaf superheroes now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We're getting
Yeah, it's
Makari with the Eternals. We're getting Hawkeye in the Hawkeye show. It is crazy. I also want to
yeah.
ask quickly my last thing to you, unless you have more you want to talk about with Hawkeye. Um, do you think we could get any more alludes to the Young Avengers
With Kate, yeah.
with Kate? Like, do you think she could talk about like assembling her own team?
I don't think she could I think she might say like, "Oh, maybe it's just about like I don't think we're at the point where they form yet or anything like that. I think it's just like
But the question to me is like if you actually read like the comics, like one of the things like they fight many like hardcore villains
fight
that you
Kate.
yeah they literally fight Kang the Conqueror, and they're
Like
one of the
multiple
driving
times.
factors to beat him. Like
Plus
it,
they come about because the Avengers like
it
disband. So like I
yeah,
could
because of
see
Vision.
yeah.
It was Vision's like if the Avengers were to ever shut down, what to do in that situation. Which, by the way, makes Vision look like an absolute dick. He's like, we'll just put the fate of the world and some kids.
Right. I just think we're introducing them now and then at some point something will happen. That's all I think right now. I don't think
But
we'll get
I'll
Kate
also say
mentioned
this.
in
Okay, so look, we already know some. We already have castings for most of the Young Avengers. We have Patriot already casted. We have Kate Bishop already casted. There's debate if Wiccan and Speed are going to stay as their little kid self. I think when they get introduced, they're going to be aged up to teenagers, at least young adults. Um, but Hulking Man, he's the one who I'm really curious who they're going to cast with.
Secret Invasion. Maybe we see because isn't he a scroll, right?
He's half Skrull, half Kree, which is also, by the way, real crazy because it's literally the
Secret
young.
Invasion, maybe
I don't think that. I think here's the thing: the Young Avengers are
the
literally
Marvels.
no, no. He's not like that with that. I think what's crazy is if you literally think about it, the reason why in the comics there's the Skrull and Kree war is literally because the Young Avengers break Hulking out of prison, and then they fight with the Kree to kill the Skrulls or to fight the Skrulls. I don't know. It's crazy, but I can't say his last name. We said at the beginning. Timothy, whatever.
Chalamet.
Whatever. Bro, I can see him as hulking. I think he just fits him. Let me look up hulking because I remember hulking being blonde in the comics. Hulking. Yeah, my guy fits it.
Yeah, maybe.
I can see it. I don't know. Also, let me ask you: do you think they would ever? Last question, and then I'm done asking questions. Do you think when we do get the Young Avengers, do you think we ever will get the Billy and Teddy story of them being a gay couple?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure. I just think the Young Avengers is so far down the line that, like, I mean, I shouldn't say so far, but like they're
No,
far enough down the.
they've been weirdly setting it up. I'll give it that because we have like Kid Loki, we have Wicked and Speed, we
Yeah, is he going to
have
be a part of it? Because he's a part of it in the comics.
yeah,
like,
we have Stature, we have Patriot, we have Hawkeye.
Right, but some of them, like, Patriot barely says anything.
I
So,
know.
like, we're not even at the point where, like.
Well, not only that, also like just it's the story of them is just really weird. Like Loki as a young Avenger is like really weird because he's like he's trying to steal Billy's powers from him. Like he's trying to avidly work with him, but work against him also. It's like
Right.
super counterintuitive. Like it's like really weird writing. So
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Yeah. I know you're really concerned about the Eternals. We're going to talk about that next week when we do our 15-question preview. I'll start drafting that tomorrow when I'll ask you what you want to ask for questions. Because
You should let me make 7 of them and you make 8 of them.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you do that. I'll let you do that.
You can get the boring questions, and I'll get the fun questions. The very out of the box questions.
Right.
We
Yeah.
can start drafting that after this.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll also talk about whatever the news is, and then 2 weeks from now, we'll preview Disney Plus Day, which should be a big day, and I'll stream that whole Friday, and Alex will join me at some point, and then yeah.
That's like now 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. It's gonna be a big day. Get a Book of Boba Fett trailer, probably Miss Marvel. Other things, Kenobi. So yeah, guys, let's go wrap up the show. Thank you for coming to watch. I know our main topic was Rogue One, and it was probably the thing we talked the least about, but we will see you all next week for episode 41 of our Eternals preview.